objectives. Okay, there are four main objectives. First one is to prevent the road shocks from being transmitted to the vehicle components, thereby providing suitable riding and cushioning effects to the occupants. That is, whatever road shocks are there because of irregularities in the road, okay, that should not be transmitted to the occupants, that is the travelers or the passengers. So those shocks or irregularities should be absorbed, okay, by the suspension system, so that the traveler will be comfortable, okay, during the journey. Okay. So the second basic thing is to provide stability for the moving vehicle during pitching or rolling actions. Okay. So they are the two important phenomena. In the upcoming slides we will see what actually is pitching and what is rolling. So during pitching and rolling, if the stability is not ensured, the vehicle will be upset, it will topple. Okay. Provide safe vehicle control which is free of irritating vibrations. Okay, first and three almost matches together, and it has to reduce the wear and tear of the tire. So these are the objectives of a suspension system. So please make a note of it. Okay. So these four are the important phenomena. One is pitching. Okay, you can see in the sketch what actually is pitching. When you apply the brake suddenly, okay, what happens? The vehicle will be moving down towards the road. Correct. The front portion will be moving down, whereas the up portion will be lifted. So the action can be represented like this. Correct. So when you release the brake, the front portion will move up while the back portion will come back to the normal. So this is called as the pitching action. Okay. Next is the this takes place usually across the transverse axis or the horizontal axis. The next important phenomena is the yaw action, that is the vertical axis. So when you brake and steer together, what happens? Sometimes the vehicle is moving like this. So suddenly when you apply the brake, it may take a turn and stop. Okay. So it will move across the vertical axis. So this is the vertical axis. It will move across the vertical axis. So this is called as yaw action. Okay. So moving aside. So the next is the rolling action. Okay. When you are steering the vehicle in a curve, okay, one end the vehicle load will be falling so that it will move down and the other end will lift up. Okay. So this is called as the rolling action across the longitudinal. So during these actions, what happens is the suspension system should absorb the extra energy and slowly it has to release back so that the vehicle will be always stable. Okay, so just simple example just I give you is a sudden applying of brake. What happens? More amount of load will be falling on the front wheels. At that time, that load should be absorbed by the front suspension and gradually it should be left back so that the vehicle will not topple. If it doesn't absorb the energy, what happens is the back portion will start lifting. Okay, so the vehicle gets disturbed. Okay, so these are the three important phenomena that takes place. One is the pitching across the transverse axis, yaw across the vertical axis, and roll across the longitudinal axis. Sometimes if this roll increases beyond certain limit, the vehicle will topple. Okay, so these are the three important actions that take place during driving a vehicle. At such situations, the excess energy should be absorbed by the shock absorber and the vehicle stability should be ensured. Okay. What are the different elements? So far, we have discussed about what are the objectives of suspension. That is why we have to use it. Okay. So now we have discussed about some of the actions also, like pitching, rolling, yaw, etc. So what are the different elements or components of a suspension system is the next question. Okay. There are two important components or two important elements in a suspension system. First one is the spring. Okay. The function of the spring is to absorb the road shocks. The energy, whatever is there, that should be absorbed okay, during the bump or irregularities. Okay. Tires also provide, to some extent, to small extent, tires also provide a shock absorbing effect, but it will be very negligible. Okay. So majority portion should be taken by a spring. Next important is the damper. See, you have just observed a flexible spring. Once you press it completely and just leave it, it will be oscillating for some amount of time, correct, due to the flexibility in the spring. If there is that oscillation in the spring, what happens? I'll give you an example. In your car, you don't have a damper. Okay, only a spring is attached to the wheel. What happens? Suddenly there is a bump. You cross the bump, the shock will be absorbed by the spring. After some time, you can feel that the vehicle will be a little bit disturbed. It will be moving slowly up and down. Why? Because the spring will be keep on operating. It cannot release the energy at once. In such cases, an additional damper or a resistor is given. Okay, so this resistor, what it does, it compensates for the flexibility of the spring. The disturbances that will be created by the spring will be taken care by the damper. So these two are the important components or elements of a suspension system. Okay, one is the spring, second is the damper. Spring to absorb the shocks, damper to control the oscillations of the spring. Please make a note of it. Okay, so we'll move to the next part. So one by one, springs first we will study. The first and most basic type of spring is the our suspension system used is a torsion bar. Just take down the sketch. I'll explain you how it works. Also, I have included a video or sorry, animation to make you understand better. Please take down the sketch. It's a simple sketch. Okay. See torsion bar. In this sketch, you can see this portion, whatever is there. Okay, so this is called as a torsion bar. Okay, it is a simple rod which is acting in torsion and takes shear stresses only. it can take up shear stresses. Okay, in the video, you can understand clearly. Torsion bar is basically a length of metal rod. It's just a metal rod. Okay, one end is anchored to the car body. So this is the frame of the vehicle or chassis of the vehicle. One end will be rigidly fixed to the chassis of the vehicle. Okay, and the other end will be fixed through a bearing to the wheel. Okay, wheel spindle. You can see this is the wheel spindle. Okay, here to the bearing, the other end will be fixed. Okay, this is called as a wheel arm. This is the spring torsion bar. Okay, this is the chassis or frame of the vehicle. One end will be rigidly fixed to the frame, other end will be fixed to the wheel arm. Okay, so here actually we'll have a wheel. So whenever there is a bump, what happens is this shaft rotates and absorbs the energy of that. Okay, as the wheel passes over a bump, the bar twists. It returns to its original position when the bump is passed away. Okay, so that the normalcy will be restored. The resistance of the bar to twisting has the same effect of the spring. Okay, so this bar will have certain amount of resistance for twisting or rolling. So that itself acts as a spring mechanism. Okay, so it is often used in independent suspension systems. What do you mean by independent? Each wheel has a different suspension. If there are 4 wheels in a car, each wheel has a different torsion bar. So then it is called as an independent suspension system. Okay, the wheel arm is connected to the wheel hub. As I explained you, wheel arm will be connected one end to the wheel hub, other end to the torsion bar. Okay, when the wheel hits the bump, okay, it starts vibrating up and down. When it moves up and down, that shock will be taken away by this torsion bar. Okay, so the main problem with this torsion bar is it cannot take up the braking thrust. Okay, there is no damper here. Any disturbances during braking, the whatever we discussed in this sketch. Okay, usually what is the phenomena that so there will be a pitching action when you suddenly brake the vehicle, apply the brake to the vehicle. So this pitching action cannot be taken up by this torsion bar. That is the major problem. Otherwise, it is a very simple mechanism. Okay, at a low cost. So you can see in this animation how actually the torsion bar works. Before that, I'll explain once again the components. This actually, whatever you can see in this portion is the torsion bar. This is the wheel arm. Okay, whatever we saw in the sketch. So this is the fixed frame which will be connected to the chassis. One end of the torsion bar is attached to the wheel arm. Sorry, fixed end to the chassis. The other end is attached to the wheel arm. The wheel arm in turn is attached to the wheel. So indirectly, I can say one end is rigidly fixed, other end is connected to the wheel. The same arrangement we have seen here. One end is fixed to the frame, other end is connected to the wheel with the help of a wheel arm. So how it works is the next question. You can clearly see in this animation. 1 second. Just see, when there is a bump, what happens? The wheel moves up and down. The wheel arm also moves up and down, so that whatever shear stress is there, this will absorb, and once the pump is over, slowly it gives back. The problem is here there is no damping mechanism, so a little bit disturbances will be there. And whenever there is a rolling action, what do you mean by rolling? Pitching action. When a sudden brake is applied, this wheel will try, if it is a front wheel, it will try to move down. Okay, so such whatever shock is there suddenly moving down cannot be absorbed by this. That is the main disadvantage. Okay, so is it clear? Any doubts in this? Yes, you can unmute and discuss. It's a very simple mechanism. Any doubts you can ask me.
No, sir.
So that is why I included the animation so that you can easily understand. Okay, so this is the working principle of a torsion bar. The one more sketch I have downloaded. In this, you can see how actually it will be mounted in a vehicle. So this is the chassis end, okay, or the fixed end. So this is actually the torsion bar. For each wheel, separate torsion bars will be used. That is why it is called as an independent suspension system. So here there will be a wheel arm. To the wheel arm, the wheel will be attached. Okay, so that is why it is called as an independent suspension system. For each wheel, separate torsion bar is used. Right. So next, this I think you might have seen. So just if you see a truck, old trucks, easily you can observe this. Or even if it is a car in the rear wheel, you can see this type of springs. So they are called as leaf or laminated springs. So please take down the sketch. Leaf or laminated springs. So first we will discuss in detail about the springs. Then we will go to the suspension, which is a combination of spring and damper. So next, please take down the sketch. Note down. Okay. So this is called as the leaf or laminated spring. Okay, laminated spring, since they use steel strips. Okay, there will be a set of steel strips you can see. So this is strip number 1, which is the longest one. The next strip number 2 will be little bit shorter in radii. The third will be again, so number of such leaves of the metal strip will be used. Okay, they look like a leaf. Each strip looks like a leaf, so it is called as a leaf string. Okay. They are also called as semi-elliptical because of their shape. Okay. So each strip is called a leaf. They are joined together by clamps and a central bolt. So for example, in this sketch, so there are 5 leaves are there, okay, each of reducing length. They are all put together with the help of 2 clamps. You can see they are called as either straps or clip. Okay, so these 2 clips will help in keeping them together, and finally there will be a central bolt. Okay, so that all these 5 members form a single entity. Okay, so they will be bolted. So if centrally they are bolted and left off, they may rush towards the sides. So in order to avoid that, at the ends they are the clip or strap is installed, and at the center it is bolted. So this entire assembly is called as the leaf spring. The topmost or the first spring, which is of longer length, is called as the master leaf. Okay, master leaf is the very first spring, which will be of maximum length, right? Now, how it is installed or mounted is the next question. Okay, the end of the master leaf. See, whatever this is the master leaf, the ends of the master leaf, whatever is there, it is rolled into a circular fashion. You can see. So they are called as eyes of the leaf spring. Okay, I'll repeat once again. The longest spring, whichever is used in the entire assembly, we call it as the master leaf. This master leaf ends are rounded, and these rounded ends are called as eyes. Okay, eyes, EYE. Okay, so one eye is mounted through a rubber bush to the frame. So this is a rigid mounting to the chassis. It will be rigidly mounted. This cannot move. The other end is mounted to the frame with the help of a shackle. Instead of a rubber bush, we use a shackle. The main advantage of the shackle is it can move on either directions. Okay, it can move front or back. So what happens whenever there is any load, okay, falling on this spring, okay, it will compress in this fashion. So the length of this, okay, whatever the master spring is there, it increases. So this shackle moves back and accommodates the extra length. When the bump is gone out, again the shackle comes back to its position and the spring will be again folded. If this is also made rigid, what happens? When you just leave it in a very huge bump, what happens? The spring will just move up and down. It cannot accommodate the length, so that the spring will break. In order to avoid that, a shackle will be used. Okay, so this shackle helps in front and rear movement of the spring. Okay, so this is regarding construction and working of the leaf spring. Okay, any doubts you can ask me. So there will be a metal strips. Okay, number of metal strips. The first one is called as a master leaf. Okay, the corners will be rounded off and it is called as eye. One eye will be rigidly fixed and other way will be fixed to a shackle so that it can move front and back. Any doubts, please ask me. If it is clear, I'll show you just one photo I have included, how it looks in a vehicle. Okay, and one animation also I have included for better understanding. We'll move to that. Any doubts? Yes, any doubts, please let me know.
No, sir.
Okay, you can see the arrangement in a vehicle, how this leaf spring will be there. As I told you, there are number of strips. See, this is strip 1, this is strip 2, strip 3, strip 4, strip 5, strip 6, strip 7, strip 8. The ninth spring is the master leaf here. The last spring is the master leaf. You can see, since there are many, you can see two clamps are there to keep them in position, and one central bolt is there to form it into a single assembly. One central bolt is there. Clearly you can see one end. This is the first end or first eye of the master leaf that is rigidly fixed to the chassis. Chassis is the foundation, or it is the frame of the vehicle. It is rigidly fixed. So this is the shackle which we discussed about. The second end is fixed to the shackle. Okay, when this wheel passes through a bump or a hump, so this moves up, so the load will be applied in this direction. So when the load increases, what happens? So the radius, if I take this as the center point, this will be the radius. Okay, radius decreases, okay, and the spring gets flattened. Okay, when the spring gets flattened, its length increases. To accommodate the length, the shackle moves back to this direction. Extra length will be accommodated. When once the wheel becomes normal, slowly it comes back to its position. So with this sketch, you can clearly understand the different parts as well as the working principle. Okay, so just in this sketch, I have shown different types of leaf spring that will be normally used. This is called as quarter elliptic. Okay, this is semi-elliptic, whatever we discussed now. Okay, this is semi-elliptic, and this is inverted or transverse. Okay, so this mechanism, both ends there will be shackles. These are the different types of leaf springs, and in this animation you can clearly see how the mechanism works. See, this is the shackle, yellow color, whatever you can see. This is the shackle. Number of springs are there. Okay, here there will be a bolt, and here two clamps are there. Whenever there is a bump, what happens? You can see. Just take the example of the master leaf. What is happening in the master leaf? Radius is decreasing and its length is increasing. In the other view, you can see. So that this shackle, whatever is there, that moves back and accommodates the extra length. So this is the functioning of the leaf spring. Okay, so this is the shackle, whatever we discussed, right? The shackle is moving in the backward direction to accommodate the length. Depending on the size of the bump, it will move front and back. Okay, I hope with this and this practical sketch, whatever we saw, you could clearly understand the different parts and working mechanism of the this leaf spring. Okay, next third type. First one we saw torsion bar, first type of spring. Second one is the leaf spring, and third one is the coil spring. Okay, just take down the sketch. take the sketch. I'll explain you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Taking down. Sir, done, sir.
Okay. So this is the most common type of spring used, right? So why this? When leaf spring is a good mechanism which can take up any amount of load, huge truck also it can be easily installed and any amount of bump it can take place. So there are certain disadvantages or limitations with respect to the leaf spring. First, we will discuss them. Okay, they aren't always the easiest to install. Installation is a big headache. The ride comfort is not great. So definitely leaf springs are suitable for luggage vehicles. Yeah, the ride comfort will not be so good unless otherwise very high quality material is used. Interleaf friction between the leaves is a very major issue. The springs tend to lose out and lose their shape. That will be a problem, so that the vehicle will sag. When the spring sag, vehicle will also sit down. Okay, vibration can be caused by acceleration and braking. Sometimes there will be a vibration due to acceleration and braking. So these are some of the problems. So these are the main four limitations with respect to the leaf springs. So coil springs are becoming popular because of these reasons. Okay, for a front suspension, the coil spring used is demonstrated in this sketch. Okay, the coil spring is held between the spring seat uh, spring seat. One second. Okay, so one end will be sitting on the seat, the other end will be connected to the control arm. Control arm we saw in the torsion bar, so that in turn will be connected to the wheel, right? So here in this sketch photo, you can clearly see to the same rear wheel, okay, how it is attached. In place of a leaf spring, okay, there is a coil spring attached. Can you see it? So one end is connected to this axle,
Yes, sir.
which is connected to the wheel. The other end will be fitted. So this portion, whatever you can see the bulge, that is called as the seat. Okay, this is the chassis of the vehicle or frame of the vehicle. So one end will be rigidly fixed to the chassis or frame. Other end will be mounted onto the axle arm, so that which in turn will be connected to the wheel. So whenever there is a movement of up and down, easily it can absorb the shocks, and there is no question of any number of leaves here, slipping, and there is no contact between one ring and the other ring of the leaf, so that the internal friction will not be there. So these are some of the advantages of this mechanism. Okay. So coil spring, you can see how it will be installed in a vehicle. Okay, just sketch to make you understand. So what are the advantages compared to leaf spring? It has little or no internal damping. If you ask why, as I told you, there is no direct contact between one ring and other ring. Whereas in the leaf, okay, they are attached with each other. Okay, direct contact, internal friction will be there. So that internal friction will not be there in this coil spring, and the cost is also low. Just look at the weight, okay, of a leaf spring and a coil spring. There you can estimate the cost there straight away. Okay, compact size, definitely leaf spring is a very huge assembly compared to the coil spring, used in many suspension system popularly. Okay, it is the most common found in modern vehicles. Okay, modern vehicles, they have switched over, even though it is a very compact mechanism. Just make a note. So these are the advantages of the coil spring. Okay. So next, shock absorber. So far we have discussed about different types of springs. Okay, the spring and damper put together, we can call it a shock absorber. It's a complete assembly. Okay. So shock absorbers are necessary as the springs do not settle down fast. Okay, they will be moving up and down, so that disturbance will be shifted to the passengers of the vehicle. In order to avoid that, we use a damper. Okay. So damper plus spring put together, we call it as a shock absorber. Okay. So in general, after a spring has been compressed and released, it continues to shorten and lengthen or oscillate for a long time. To avoid that or break down that oscillation, we use shock absorbers. There are two terms in a spring. One is flexibility and second is the stiffness. If you use a higher flexibility spring, what happens? It can absorb the complete shock, but it will be oscillating for a longer time. If you use a stiff spring, okay, it cannot absorb the complete vibration, but it will be stiff, it will not oscillate. So there should be a compromise between flexibility and stiffness of the spring. Okay, usually the spring flexibility will be kept higher, and to compensate the vibrations, a damper will be used. Okay, excessive flexing can be prevented by using the dampers. Okay, shock absorbers are either a friction type or hydraulic type. See, majorly two types are there. Friction type is almost gone. It is of olden day technology. Now, usually hydraulic type shock absorbers will be used, which we will be discussing. Okay. Just go through this video to give you an idea of how a suspension works. Rolling action, you can see. I was discussing about rolling.